Welcome to Stone Barns Center for Food and Agriculture. I am Jack Algier, here to share a little information with you about sweet potatoes from the field. Well, here we are standing in a sea of green leaves, and these are sweet potato vines. Now, sweet potato is a very wonderful crop for our area, although mostly we associate the southern part of our country as being the real place that sweet potatoes are from, and for good reason. Most of the varieties of these types of sweet potatoes are actually really long days to maturity, and there are lots of varieties that just won't mature in the Northeast. However, there are a bunch of really wonderful classic varieties that are shorter day that do just fine in the Northeast, and as our seasons continue to change, more and more varieties become available to us. So first off, I want to dispel a myth that a sweet potato is related in any way to a standard potato that you might eat in potato salad, say, for example. Now, of course, they are called potatoes, sweet potatoes, but in fact, they are an entirely different family. Potato being a true relative of a tomato and a solanaceous plant. A sweet potato is actually a relative of a morning glory, Ipsomia. So a very different plant altogether. In fact, if you know morning glory well from growing on your garden fences, it is a strong vine. It's actually quite edible in terms of edible leaves. As you know, potatoes are not edible green material, just the roots are edible. But with sweet potatoes, these wonderful long vines produce leaves that are quite delicious when cooked and are a lot like spinach, in fact. So at this time of the season, there's this moment of delicacy to be able to pick and eat this nice succulent green. It's not delicious as a raw green, but it cooks wonderfully and makes a spinach-like or kale-like kind of texture when it's cooked, a wonderful green. And the flowers are edible as well. What I really want to show you here is the gem that's underground. So here's one of the sweet potatoes that's growing underneath these roots here. As we dig around, we'll pull up some more. Each one of these plants might produce anywhere between 2 and 5 pounds worth of sweet potatoes, and varying sizes. We get about a third of the crop with these very large 1 to 2 pounders, a third in the 1 pound range that are sort of more slightly smaller classic size, and then a range of things that are sort of this mid-size, mid to small. The size of the sweet potato really matters very little in terms of its flavor, but certainly if you're cooking them whole, finding uniformity for cooking whole sweet potatoes, we like to sort them and size them and sell them by their different sizes as they come out, because there are always lots of different variabilities in their size. The next step from the field after everything comes out is we will bring them and put them into big crates and actually wrap them in greenhouse plastic, sort of tie them right down. And there's a process called sweating that we do for the sweet potatoes, where for them to really get to their best flavor potential, a wrapped sweat on heat. So we might put them in a bin, wrap them in plastic, and put them in a greenhouse or in a hoop house so that the sun can bake them for the next week or two. And what that will do to them is allow all the sugars to sweat to the surface and complex. And that will actually make them more delicious even than they are just picked fresh from the field. So the sweet potato actually improves in the weeks after harvest, as long as they are and have the capacity to get hot, which is counterintuitive for all of us in the north here that are picking and harvesting in a cool season. But remembering that this is a southern crop, and of course has originated from places that are hot when the crop is harvested. So thank you for joining us here today. If you like what we've seen and you'd like to learn more about what we do here at Stone Barns, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or check us out on the web at stonebarnscenter.org. Thanks for joining us.